Let's Talk Oculus, a VR podcast, is proudly sponsored by the good folks at Patreon. If you want to support the show, join us on patreon.com/Let's Talk Oculus. What's up, Oculus nerds? Welcome back to Let's Talk Oculus, episode 56. I'm Dan, and with me, as always, it's Samson. How you doing today?
Hello, hello, hello. I am doing well, mostly because my Steam Deck came this week.
You know what?
Yay.
We're going to talk about that a little bit later on. I'm really curious about the Steam Deck. But before we go on to that, just want to introduce our guest. We have a guest today. We are joined by Jasmine from VR with Jasmine. How you doing, Jasmine?
Hi, everybody. I'm doing great. Thanks for asking.
Awesome.
And thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's good to have you.
Thank you for
on.
coming on.
Yeah, so today's episode is going to be a little bit different. It's going to be kind of all about Jasmine. We're just going to kind of geek out on VR. We're going to talk to her about like her first experience and kind of go back to how when she first started content creation, some of the favorite games and such. So it's going to be a nice little conversation piece for today's episode. But before we get into anything, a little housekeeping as usual. Let's Talk Oculus releases every single Wednesday on all good podcast platforms and some rubbish ones as well. Dave, I'm looking at you in the Discord for, I don't know what podcast platform you told me you had the other day, but it's a rubbish one. You can also
something, I forget.
Yeah, you couldn't review on the channel as well is not. You can watch the video version on YouTube at Let's Talk Oculus. We'd also have a Discord that I just mentioned. We normally play multiplayer games. We normally do some big screen watching in there actually. We actually had an 8-person walkabout mini golf session. Like we maxed it out the other day, which took, how long did it take? Like 2-3 hours? It took a while.
Over 2 hours for sure.
Over 2 hours. Yeah. So definitely joining the Discord if you want to join a community. I think we have over 85 people in there now. So definitely join that. And we have a Patreon. You can join at patreon.com/Let's Talk Oculus. All the links will be below. All right.
I want to see how fast you can do that.
How I can do that housekeeping spiel.
Yeah.
You think I have it memorized first, but I still always have it next to me because I always forget something.
For sure.
All right, Samson, I want to talk to you about your Steam Deck a little bit later on, but let's start with our guest. So Jasmine, welcome to the show. Just kind of tell the people who are listening, who are you?
Oh gosh, I'm Jasmine. I make YouTube videos and TikTok videos now about VR mostly. I'm just like a super big VR nerd, tech nerd in general, and I also just love to share the things I'm excited about. So when my family got sick of me talking about VR and my friends got sick of me talking about VR, and I was like, all right, let me bother some strangers on the internet, and that's who I am now.
and you realize there's some people like to do the same, and that's how we kind of originated as well.
I was gonna say that sounds very familiar.
Yeah.
I read somewhere, Jasmine, that you were in robotics or something like that before, and then are you a full-time content creator? Or almost.
Yes, technically I'm a full-time okay, so yeah, my background's in like mechanical design engineering. So I did work in I did some space robotics designs and then worked on like some defense stuff, and then I went into like the tech industry and I did like some program management kind of work there, and then I started making videos and I just was like, wow, this is really fun. So technically I'm full-time because I like quit my full-time job a couple months back.
Nice.
But it was only like last month that I made enough to not have to use my savings, although that's not purely from like the money I make from content creation. There's a lot of other work I'm doing outside.
Yeah.
That's related, but not necessarily like from YouTube or something.
Fair enough. So you kind of would say you're full-time VR right now.
Yes, I am very full-time VR.
Awesome.
It's super fun.
Nice.
Kind of like let's go back to when you first picked up that VR headset. Like when was the first time you ever tried VR? I'm curious of what your experience was.
The first time I tried VR was at this like some random festival. I don't even remember where it was. It was just like a random carnival somewhere. Not even a carnival. I don't know. You know those things you have in like the park where there's like, oh, it's a community
like pop-ups.
Yeah.
And they just have like little stands and stuff. And for some reason there was like a bench that had like a Google Cardboard where they were showing people like a roller coaster thing. And this was like, I don't know, like 2016 maybe, like you know, like a while back. Yeah, and then I was just like, I need to try this thing, and I tried it, and I was like, that's so cool. I feel really sick, but that's so
I was
cool.
gonna say roller coasters. That's an intense start.
I
I
was
was
also
like,
gonna
yeah,
say really sick, and she did cardboard was the first one. A lot of people say it was
Yeah.
PSVR or it was the first Oculus, but cardboard
yeah, no, I
got you
was
in.
on that. Yeah, and then after that, like the Samsung Gear VR came out,
Mm,
and I was definitely not due for a new phone, but I was like, screw it, I'm gonna get a new
yeah.
phone so I can get the Samsung Gear, and so I would say that that's like my first like real experience, and then I think everyone has the same experience with like doing, was it Into the Blue, where you have like the whales flying by you, and you're just like,
Mm,
am I in my room or am I in the middle of the ocean right now? I don't even know.
mm.
So yeah, I would say that's like my first real experience. That was like, this is it.
And that was the first
Totally
one you
cool.
owned then, I guess, right?
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah, the
very
first one
cool.
I owned. Mhm.
Oh, so is that, with this Samsung Gear, was it more about watching stuff, right? It was more
Have it.
consuming content. I have mine in my wardrobe too,
Oh
yeah.
man, right next to me.
Oh,
Wow.
that's a nice one.
This is a nice one.
Oh
Uh,
man. Yeah,
yeah,
it's
it was
nicer
more
than the
about,
one I have.
There were
oh,
3 degrees of freedom?
I don't, yeah, I think so. I don't remember anymore.
Yeah.
It's been a while. It even says Oculus on the side. Hold on. Oh gosh.
Yeah, we
Oh,
got the
RIP.
Gear Oculus V, yeah.
Um, but yeah, it was mostly about watching stuff, but that was like enough for me at the time. That was enough
Yeah,
to like get into it.
for sure, for
I'd love
sure.
to know about like you guys' first experience, although don't know if you guys have talked about that before.
Yeah. But us, I think I mean Samson, you want to go first?
Yeah, sure. My first time in VR was I was visiting my college roommate, and he did some work using VR headsets, and I think it was one of the some sort of Samsung headset that I used. And it was in so he did like defense work. So I was in a helicopter, and it
Hmm.
was
Oh,
an app
cool.
built for to see if soldiers are ready to if after they were hurt to see if they were ready to go back into the field. And so I just sat in this helicopter over a war, like the scenery, I guess.
This is very intense.
Yeah.
Yeah, the helicopter flew pretty slow. It was not like a roller coaster or anything, but I was like, whoa, this is pretty cool. But I didn't like play anything. And then November 2019, I bought the Quest 1,
Mm.
like Black Friday or something. Came with the Vader Immortal series, and I think I bought Beat Saber, and that was all I had for quite some time, but I loved it.
Amazing
Yeah.
that that was only 3 years ago. It just doesn't feel that long, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't feel that long. For me, it was the PSVR. I had the first one. It was more because of my dad. My dad was super curious. He's not much of a gamer. Like he used to play a little bit with me as a kid, but then for some reason with this VR, he got so excited and bought a PS4 Pro, and he bought a PSVR, and he bought the whole lot. Used it for
Oh,
about a couple of times, and then I kind of just used it for most of it. But yeah, it was just
Step aside.
PSVR. When I first put that headset on to see PSVR worlds and going through the demos like the Shark Tank, the London Heist, and such. Playing the kitchen demo, which was a Resident Evil 7 demo, looking before you even begin that demo, you're in a dark kitchen and you look around, and the actual, I don't know if I put a PSVR headset on now what it looks like, but at the time it looked really, really good and quite sharp. So I'd look at the windows thinking, oh my gosh, I'm actually in this world and such. So that was my first, and then I never got the Oculus first one to be honest, because I had the PSVR during that kind of time. But then when I got rid of my PSVR because I was moving to Vancouver in Canada, that's when I was like, okay, I hear rumors, I'm just gonna wait and wait and wait, and then lo and behold, it finally came out with the Quest 2. Jasmine, did you ever have the first Quest?
I did. I have quite an interesting story with that too. So I
Okay.
had just bought like a very nice laptop, like a new laptop.
Hmm.
And then a couple months later, I bought the CV1, the Oculus Quest, or sorry, the Oculus Rift CV1. And then I was trying to get it to work with my new laptop, and it just wasn't working. And I was like, the spec says 1050. It should be working. Like the GPU, and it was just not working. And then turns out I had to like get a different laptop. So I had
Mm,
just, I mean, I was in my mid-20s. I wasn't like rolling in money here at this time.
yeah.
But I had just like spent a lot of money on this laptop. And then I was like, oh, screw it. Now I have to buy another one and drop a whole nother like it was like a $1,200 laptop that was like, it was a used gaming laptop, but it still cost $1,200 on top of the 1,000 I already spent on the CB1. And I was like, I'm just pouring money into this.
Oh,
Yeah. And so
Wow.
this is how desperate I was to get into
yeah.
VR. Like I was like, this needs to happen for me. Like that's why also I got the new phone for the Samsung Gear, right? And yeah, the sad part of this is I did end up selling my old laptop, selling on eBay, but then I got
Yeah.
scammed. And so altogether, in order for me to
Oh
get into
no.
like the CB1, it cost me like $1,000 for the CB1,
Mhm.
the $1,200 for the new laptop, the $800 for the first laptop that I had bought that I tried to sell, plus the like $200 that that person scammed me in shipping money. So that is how much it cost me to get into the CB1. It was like,
Jesus. And
Samsung,
what
what
was
was
your
that?
first game? What did you pay that much money to play
I
first?
don't even remember, honestly. I can't remember what my first game was. What was I playing back then? I was playing a lot of Space Pirate Trainer, but I think I was doing it on the HCC vibe. I really oh gosh, how could I forget the Orbis VR?
Yeah.
It was like the first
The MMO.
MMORPG.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I spent a lot of time playing that, and I was so tired because I was a warrior, and yeah, actually, like that was like the first time people were like using their arms to actually move around. I'd be like dripping in sweat, while all these like mages were walking around me, and I was like, okay, just because you're casting spells and you're not tired, like I can't help in this combat.
The question
Yeah.
is though, was it worth the $3,000 and all that hassle?
I mean, yeah, I still love VR.
Yeah.
Like it was a lot of money at the time, but I had a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I would say
Look,
it was worth it. I mean, that person that scammed me.
yeah, but look at you
Yeah,
now.
man.
Like if you now you've had that cool story to tell and it kind of drove your passion for VR maybe a bit more. So it kind of all aligned, so it all worked out. But no, that's a crazy story. Yeah. I always kind of looked at the Quest One thinking it was like one of those perfect headsets. Like this is the first time we've had a mobile VR where it's
Mhm.
properly detached, right? And when I got the Quest 2, finally, I think the Quest 2 when I first played it was with Vader Immortal, the game that everyone's already been playing for so long when they've had their Quest 1. And I was like, oh, okay, this is exactly how I thought it was gonna be, and it's amazing. And yeah, just having no wires was a big difference. And obviously going from like you with that setup with that all that money, right? Where the Quest 2 and the Quest 1 rather so cheap relatively, right? Compared to it.
Mhm.
So
Oh,
made that
for sure.
yeah, made that entry
Compared to
point.
what I spent.
We've the community's been trying to convince Stan to get a PC and or a larger than 64 gigabyte Quest, but to no avail yet.
Oh my gosh. Okay, that's giving me a headache. 64 GB Quest
Yeah,
I
and
he's just
PC.
constantly installing, uninstalling, and he loves Medal of Honor. It's
I know.
crazy.
I remember when Gamertag was on this podcast a few months ago, and I think Samson said the same thing to him, and he was like, "Are you kidding me? What? How you've only got the 64?" But yeah, it is what it is. I'm waiting for that PSVR 2, you know. I'm waiting for that PSVR 2.
That's
Um,
yeah,
and it's coming.
soon.
Speaking of, Jasmine, do you plan to upgrade in the next gen? And if so, which way are you sort of leaning? I mean, there's seems to be a lot on the periphery.
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely not getting the PSVR 2. It sounds really great and amazing. It's just probably not gonna happen for me because I don't even have a PS5.
Mm.
I think I need to see what happens with the Cambria that's coming out. Um, yeah, and then I don't know what other ones you're talking about.
Yeah, I guess it's just like Pico and
Yeah, not
which I guess is
available in
more
the
similar
US.
to Quest, yeah. And then
Yeah,
Apple is
so
just like insane, so
in the
not
skies,
really.
yeah.
Yeah.
But
Um,
yeah, and Jasmine, I know you got is it the Vario Aero?
I am borrowing it, yeah. So I have that, and I'm temporarily borrowing it just to like test it out, review it.
Yeah.
Uh, man, this thing is like it's like my eyes almost hurt because it's so pretty.
Is it as
I
far
was
as I
gonna say you can
remember
read.
it's the 200 hertz, right? And it has the mini LED displays, I believe that headset
I don't remember
has.
the specs off the top of my head. I
I
just know that
think
it's like my eyes like sparkle when I look into it. Um,
that sounds accurate then with the 200 hertz and such.
okay, so yeah, I mean, if we want to talk about the Arrow, like the display is just like it's so good. It's so
Hmm.
bright. There's not any of like can't really see like the pixels in between. It's like it's just so clear. But to the point where any like 2D artwork that you'll see on the walls of like VR chat and stuff, it looks 3D because of how clear this thing is.
Mm,
It's such a weird thing that it's like imagine just looking at like a poster on the wall, but then for some reason that poster's kind of popping out at you.
wow. Yeah.
Um, but it is definitely too good, which sounds weird, but because a
Mm,
lot of games are like made intended for like standalone or for lower quality VR headsets, when you play it on the Arrow, it's like you can if you get too close, you can start seeing like stuff like shading that's like blurry or like colors that just
right.
don't or like assets that are supposed to be 3D but all are of a sudden
Yeah.
like very flat looking. It's just so
Yeah.
clearly obvious that
You're
you're
Yeah.
like,
seeing
"Man,
too
what is
much.
this?"
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a very weird. So yeah, the headset is way ahead of its time for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess those assets aren't really optimized for that resolution, right? So it's kind of trying to upscale it to what you have, and then it's not doing the best of jobs, which
Isn't
kind
that
of makes sense.
crazy?
I know, like it's just
You
too
didn't know that. It's too good.
it's too good. I'm assuming it uses all of your PC power.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
And then if the foveated rendering isn't available on a game that I'm playing, and it's rendering the entire, to
seen,
full,
yeah.
yeah, then I like have a lot of lags and stuff.
Hmm.
So yeah, because not every game allows for that.
Foveated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's important, especially how detailed it is. I think that's something that the PSVR 2 will have with foveated rendering, right? And all of its games is going to have that kind of feature
Yeah,
because they want to push
exactly.
out the most quality possible, and you can't really do that if you're rendering the whole 360 scene
Yeah.
that you're looking at, right? So
Mhm.
it makes a lot of sense. But is it like when you go back to something like the Quest 2 or something like that, does it are you kind of bummed out when you go back? Is it that much of a difference or is it just more of a nice to have?
It makes me feel like I'm ready for the next thing.
Hmm.
Like after experiencing this, it's not that, I'm not necessarily like bummed out, but I can feel how antiquated the Quest 2 is, even though it's not. It's still really good right now, but
Hmm.
I've seen the future. So it's
You
just
know,
like it's
yeah.
hard.
Yeah.
I
But like, it's not, I feel like if there's something right in between those two, then that would be the ideal at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. That's fair enough. Um, Kind of pivot on VR for a second. Samson, with your Steam Deck, how was the Steam Deck this weekend? You finally got it. Okay, we've been anticipating on the podcast all the time, so let's have a quick pivot from VR and how was your first like 48 hours with the Steam Deck?
Oh, it's been great. I had it for one day of work now and Saturday, and I guess today.
Yeah.
And I used it a good amount during my breaks at work. And first I installed a bunch of games because I had previously found like a terabyte mini like micro SD card
Hmm.
on sale, and so I just bought that months ago in anticipation of this moment. So I installed a bunch of games, mostly been playing Spyro, the
Spyro
reignited
on
That's
trilogy. Yeah.
awesome.
nice, nice. Wait, what console did the Spyro come out? Was that like PS2? That
Yeah,
one?
but it's
It's
like
the
they
up-res
revamped.
one though. Yeah.
They remastered it. So I'm gonna be playing through Spyro. Pretty easy to pick up, put down.
Hmm.
And then what else? I hopped into some pinball, not aspect ratio, not great, tiny screen pinball, fast action. Did not feel great.
Is it living up to your expectations though? Because you did wait a hell
Oh
of a long
yeah,
time.
yeah. I'm loving it. I thought it would be too big. I'd be like, oh,
It
this is
does look
very
chunky.
uncomfortable.
Yeah.
It's big, but it's nice. The screen's big, like you can read all the text. It
Hmm.
doesn't feel like obscenely large. Like, but you're not throwing it in your pocket for sure. Like you
No,
gotta I did come with this
the case, yeah.
the
Hmm.
case, yeah.
So
Um
funny.
But I
yeah,
guess
but it's
even with
sleek and I like it.
the Switch, you're not throwing it in your pocket anymore. They're still quite big. It's
Yeah, it's still
gone
pretty
are the
big, yeah.
like DS and PSP, PS Vita days, you know. Sadly. Jasmine, have you got a Steam Deck? It seems like a lot of people
No.
have, no?
I mean, gosh, I guess I should. I don't know. There's just so many things to spend money on.
Oh, tell
So
me
I
about
kind of am just like, I mean, unless it comes out with a headset that works with it, which I know everyone's
it.
saying that it will, I'm like, I'll just wait. I don't need it right now.
Yeah, that's fair. I think I can't remember which content creator. I think somebody did try out the Quest on the Steam
Mhm.
Deck, and it did work out, to be fair, but it's not like
Some
proper
things I think.
optimized, right?
Yeah.
It's not proper optimized. But hey, one day, one day. All right, let's kind of go back to VR. Jasmine, how did content creation happen for you? Because obviously you've tried the Google Cardboard, you went to Samsung and such, but
Mm.
when did the the kind of the click come into your brain where you were like, you know what, I'm gonna make a YouTube channel and kind of I can showcase this to the world. Aside from your family going, hey, stop bugging us with this VR stuff anymore.
Yeah. So, well, I actually had a YouTube channel like a long time ago, back when I was in high school, which is a very long time ago.
Yeah.
So when YouTube was still new, but I was doing like singing videos and stuff, and people were being on the internet, and no one knew what was
Mm-hmm.
going on with the internet at the time. So I was like, my really fragile, like very young teen self couldn't
Yeah.
handle all the drama.
Yes.
So I got rid of it, and then I like, went on with my life and moved on.
Mm-hmm.
But being in front of the camera and like making content and like all that stuff has been something ingrained in me, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Then the pandemic happened and like I had nothing else to do.
Yeah.
So as everyone else was
Don't we
super
all?
bored, right? So then everyone started digging back into like, into their old hobbies or trying to figure out
Mm-hmm.
what to do with their lives. So I actually started streaming on Twitch first. I was streaming Beat Saber.
Yeah.
First I was playing Beat Saber because I needed a workout and no one was allowed outside. And I was like, well, I don't know what to do. So I
Mm-hmm.
was playing Beat Saber to work out. And I was like, well, how am I gonna be playing anyway? Like I might as well like stream this. I
Yeah.
mean, no one could be watching, but that's fine. At least
Mm-hmm.
like have a purpose. And then I started streaming, and then like people did watch. And then as I was like, because I was doing mixed reality, and I think I was one of the very few people
Yeah.
doing mixed reality and Beat Saber. And then as I was playing VR or at Beat Saber a lot, people kept asking me questions about VR. They're like, oh, is it worth it? Do you like it? All these questions. And I was like, every day repeating myself over and over and over
Mm-hmm.
again. And I was like, I can't keep repeating myself. So then I was like, okay, everybody, I made a video on this. So if you have a question on this, just
Yeah.
watch it on the YouTube channel. And then they kept asking me more and more questions. And so then I just started making a lot of like tutorials, more and more tutorials. And then it kind of
Mm.
just kept going from there.
Nice, nice.
Wow.
Would you say live streaming is still like your predominant method then, or has it kind of now pivoted to YouTube, but then obviously TikTok, which we'll get onto in a minute?
Yeah. Gosh, complicated. I like streaming a lot. Streaming's fun, but like, before this podcast, Samson was saying that it's kind of a grind, and it is. It is
Mm,
very exhausting. And so I kind of looked at the landscape of Twitch and like VR and on Twitch just wasn't, unless you're playing Beat Saber, you can't really play any
mm.
other VR games on Twitch and get big. You just have to play Beat Saber. And like sometimes I'm like, well, my shoulders hurt. I can't play Beat Saber.
Yeah.
But if you're not streaming on a consistent schedule, then people are going to forget about you and start watching other
Mm,
people. And it was just like, oh my gosh, this is mental. Like, who does this? This
mm.
is
Yeah.
crazy. And so I just kept thinking about it in the long term. I was like, I don't think this is going to work out long term. And I was like, I think I need to go to YouTube and like, I guess make videos. Um, so then I started making videos and no one was watching. And I was like, that's okay. I just got to keep going. so, um, so then YouTube became like my primary, and then I started live streaming on YouTube after I hit like a
Hmm.
certain amount of subscribers because I wanted to focus on making videos and getting good at my craft before I like introduced a new variable.
Yeah.
I do get to stream still. I love streaming. I think it's really fun way to play games. I hate playing games by myself.
Yeah.
And so like
$100.
even if it's not a multiplayer, I really like, getting to experience it with other people.
I
Um
often get stuck, so I'd probably need the people
that
watching to help.
You know what?
Yeah.
It's exactly the reason I stream.
Yeah.
I am notoriously known for being a very terrible at games, not at Beat Saber, just at like other games. And so people get like, they're like, I'm both stressed and like invested in the stream. They're like, how do you not get it? Just get it. And I'm like, it's hard.
Are you
Yeah.
talking about maybe the Red Matter stream? You did Red Matter stream, right? For
I
Red Matter
did.
2,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
How did you do with Red Matter 2? Did you find it
That was
quite challenging, or is it okay?
You know what I'm gonna say, because I play so many puzzle games, like I've been
Hmm.
playing a lot of them, I realized that's kind of what I like doing, that I've gotten pretty good. I
Hmm.
don't generally need help from people anymore on those. But it was more like, when I was playing Population 1, I was like, I don't know. They're like, go that way. And I'm like, why?
People have the maps memorized, yeah.
Yeah, anything where there's like a lot of stuff happening around is too like intense, and then I freak out and I can't like focus. But like puzzle games, it's like, it's fine. I'll just sit there and think.
Yeah.
Fine.
What are kind of some of the games that you do like to play? Like it's just not for streaming, but just in general.
I do still play Beat Saber off stream, so I don't really stream Beat Saber anymore at all. But I definitely still play that. I've been playing, I guess I would say, like in the Neos, of course, like hanging out with people. Um, but I try to keep any like real like games like on stream. So I guess the things I'm playing off stream are like working out or hanging out. I've been playing FitXR lately because the dancing side of FitXR, they've really improved, and that's been really fun. Yeah.
Nice. Fair enough. Samson, what have you kind of been playing this week? Just out of curiosity.
This week I hopped
I know you've been
into
Steam Deck, but like
yeah,
VR.
I got into some VR. Well, the walkabout game with the Discord, that was a marathon. Very fun. Though with 8 people, I really want spatial audio so I could like have some side conversations, things like this. But I did find myself like having nonverbal interactions with people. Yeah, very fun though. That was a great time. I hopped into the Half-Life 2 VR mod. Have never played Half-Life 2 prior. And yeah, very good. Played for about like 90 minutes or so. It really feels like it was built for VR, like just the game. Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's a good one. And then some puzzling places. Did my first 100-piece puzzle.
Nice. 100-piece puzzle. That's pretty good. Dave, have you seen the Ukraine update that they've posted out? I'm not sure if it's like fully out yet. Or
the puzzles for the Ukraine.
Yeah.
I did.
Yeah, pretty cool.
And what have you been playing?
Me?
Yeah, right. You ask everybody else.
Yeah.
It's funny.
You finally get back in.
It's funny, Jasmine. So, for the last like 6-7 weeks, because I have been traveling and such, every time we come up to this section, I'm like, I haven't played anything. I've not done anything. I've still not done anything. But I did promise last week that I will be back into VR, and I have been back into VR. I did download Into the Radius last week. I remember saying that on the podcast, but I haven't actually gone into it. I opened it and went through the settings. It asked me my height, and then it asked me for my arm length. So I was like, okay. So I took the headset out and I got the tape measure out for my arm length. And I was struggling. I was like, I need to wait for my roommate to come back. So I came out of Into the Radius.
You wanted to be that exact.
I wanted to be. I was like, what is my arm length?
My arm length.
Exactly.
I'm pretty sure your arm length is your height. Like your wingspan's your height, right?
My height is 6'3", but my wingspan's almost 7 foot. So it's a little bit different. But I don't. Is arm length from just your one arm, or is it the full wingspan? I think it's just at one arm, right? And then also, is it from the tip of your hand, or is it from your wrist down to? Look at all these questions. Barriers of entry.
Thinking the Into the Radius settings big time there, bud.
Even Jasmine looks confused right now.
I'm like, I don't know if I want to play this anymore. This is way too much thinking for me. I am very like, if it's not easy for me to get into, I can't be bothered.
I mean, I think this is more of a me issue trying to be exact on these numbers. All it asks is for your height and for your arm length, and I can't get past that part. So
I heard it's a really great game though.
Yeah, I heard it's great. I've also got the ProTube accessory, which is meant to work really well for it. Which I got sent a few months back. And I obviously haven't done a video on it because I haven't been out of YouTube. So I'm itching to play it because of that too. But I'll try and play that for next week's episode of podcast. But what I actually got into was NFL Pro Era. I never planned to play this game. I remember, last week we had the games coming out and we said NFL, and I was like, it's probably going to be around $30, which was right. Samsung called it.
We were spun on.
And
we mocked it a bit.
We mocked it. I was like, $30. Why would you want to buy that for $30? But then I saw the hype afterwards and I was like, you know what? Let me just go try it out. I can always send it back for 2 hours, like I've done many times. But I actually love it. It's really fun. I'm actually working on a review for the YouTube channel to hopefully post out this week or next week or so. But so I've got loads and loads of notes on it. It's I'll give you a quick bullet point review for it. Presentation is amazing. It runs really well. You have to turn off the pass assist, and I would also say put it to the top difficulty because it is very easy.
Mhm.
Without that, especially with pass assist on, you make passes quite easily. Very, very, unless I don't know if I'm like some superstar thrower, but like you can make passes really easy.
Probably.
Take pass assist off, it becomes a bit more difficult. Not too much, but I do sometimes, don't get it.
Throw an incompletion.
I throw a few incompletions. Sometimes I get sacked off, often and such. But it makes it a little more competitive, and it's I find it more. I find it more enjoyable if it's a little bit challenging rather than, oh yeah, just throw it. Okay, awesome. It's a pass.
Mm.
It is lacking in a few features, but they are working hard in the background, as I know, from now up until Super Bowl, which is in February, to kind of push more features out, such as like a head-to-head multiplayer mode. It has multiplayer, but it's terrible at the moment. It's just 3 mini games, and it's the 3 mini games aren't really fun. One of them is called Dodgeball, which is a little bit fun, but that's about it. The other two are very meh. And everyone who I was in the multiplayer with, because you just get paired up with any random people unless you create a party. And I was with a bunch of kids in there, and they were like, "Oh, this sucks. I want to do head to head, blah blah blah." And I was like, you know what? Yeah, it's kind of just missing. It kind of teases you with saying multiplayer, but it's not actually what you think it would be. But then it has more content. It has exhibition mode. It has like some drills that you could do. It has like a mini game called 2 minute warning, which is throw as many touchdowns as you can in the 2 minute warning. Has a trophy room and such. There's a lot of content in there, and it's packaged really nicely, and the gameplay is really good. I just think the game today compared to the game today is not worth $30, I don't think. But the game that will be probably updated by December, January will 100% be worth $30. Especially if they get the head-to-head multiplayer in and get a few other gameplay features in. I think we have a real winner, which came out of nowhere because out of the whole Oculus showcase, that was probably the least, I like football, NFL. I mean, I was watching it all day today, but I'm not like a super fan or anything like that. But yeah, it surprised me how well it is. So I know that was longer than a bullet point review, but that's the best I could do.
I think I might try it now after that review. I never really understood like playing a sports video games. I'll say this doesn't make any sense, but now that's in VR, I'm like, maybe it does make sense. Maybe I should try it.
It does make you feel like a quarterback in some sense because you get
That's pretty cool.
in your headphones or in your helmet, essentially you can hear the coach, and he calls the play, and he calls the play twice. So I don't know, he says shotgun, tight back, I don't know the plays.
The play jargon.
Yeah, shotgun, tight back, something, right? Let's say he says that twice, but as you say that, you're in the middle with a huddle of all your players like it is in real life. So you like and sometimes mime it or just say the same thing to all the players. I go around and go, "Hey, you running back, I want you to run. Okay, I need to find you. Turn around." And if they do something bad, I do sometimes go, "Come on, what are you doing? What are you?" It is kind of fun like that. You do get immersed. It's just, yeah, it's just it. I've never thought, oh, okay, one more thing actually. Sorry, there's one more thing that kind of breaks the game for
Really?
me at times. Um, one more thing. The rushing touchdowns for QB, a quarterback. That means me as a quarterback, instead of passing the ball, I run to try and score the touchdown with myself, so I don't pass the ball. That is a bit of a game breaker in the game. I put it on the max difficulty. Unless you're right next to the touchdown line, say you're first and goal by like 10 yards, 7 yards, then it's a little difficult to get past the defense to rush it in. But if you're way back, say you're on the 50-yard line, if you can't find anyone to pass, sometimes you could just run and you can get past people easily. I'm not doing any crazy spins or shimmies or anything in the house. I'm just moving up, side,
You're
and
pretty
you just
agile
go.
though, as a human.
I mean, maybe, but I'm no quarterback. I expect
Or so
that.
you thought.
Sorry,
Yeah, right.
maybe I picked the wrong spot. I expect that that to happen on the easiest difficulty, maybe on the medium difficulty if I am as good as you say I am. But on the All-Star Pro level, I should be getting sacked if I'm trying to run from, like, there was once I was 80 yards away from the touchdown line, 80 yards, and I couldn't find a pass, so I just ran towards a corner and then I ended up scoring.
Yeah, you're
So
just that good.
it kind of can
Yeah,
break the
I
game
get
because
it.
there's no quarterback who would score a rushing touchdown from 80 yards unless something detrimental happens. But I shouldn't be able to do it all the time.
It did happen today in the NFL, I believe,
Did it
which is
actually?
just kind of funny. Yeah,
I didn't
but
see that.
it
Can you
is
remember who it was?
I believe it was Lamar Jackson. It might have been 79 yards. It was
Lamar
something
Jackson did
obscene.
score. He was on fire, but then also lost,
Yeah.
which was wild.
Anyway,
But yeah, anyway,
you've like, yeah, I've seen the videos and your review like almost sells me on it, but as Jasmine mentioned, I just like don't really. I used to play a lot of Madden and FIFA, but I always had like a friend that I played those particular games with, and pretty much only played them with that friend many, many hours. But right now in my life, I do not have the VR football friend.
I
And
mean,
it doesn't
What
sound like
about
it
Dan?
exists anyway, even if
there's nothing that exists
yeah.
yet for that head-to-head.
I just like, yeah, I'm not yearning for like a football in VR game. I got a lot else on my backlog.
I think what I'll do as well is because I've played 2MD and I actually re-downloaded it the other day. It was the other football game. You also have like Patrick Mahomes and such, which have got mixed reviews, but 2MD seems to be like the biggest one before this one came out. And I am curious because I might do a comparison video too at some point because I am curious of what the differences are. Because obviously the presentation, Pro Era's got the license and it's unparalleled in terms of the presentation, but I remember 2MD was pretty good too. And the 2MD was a bit more advanced because they've been around for a while. You can make your own play on the whiteboard and such and call your own plays where you can't really do that in this one. So I'm curious to see
one of the reviews I read said that throwing in 2MD felt better and more natural and than in NFL Pro Era, but like the aesthetics and how the game felt in NFL Pro Era felt more professional and like better than in 2MD. I am curious how that Patrick Mahomes game got like, the NFL only signs like a license with one of these games, right? So how does Patrick Mahomes have his own, like, I don't get
might
that.
be a side sponsorship deal or something, but it might come down to the fact that in VR you want to be immersed. You want the gameplay to be good, obviously, but the immersion is the biggest thing. And if Pro Era is the most immersive kind of football game and it still plays decently well, maybe it doesn't play better than 2MD. I'm not sure. I need to go back into it. But because you're so immersed and you're with the players that you know and you're in the stadiums that you know and when you're when you say you've lost the play, say you come off the field and you're watching the defensive unit out, you get to watch that if you want to. You're holding your iPad in the screen and you can look at play by play and so there's extra parts which actually might make you sway to Pro Era anyway. But it's a sports game. You're right, Jasmine. In the end of the day, it's a sports game. It's like in Nintendo when Mario sports games keep coming out. They're cool, they're fun, but they get boring very quickly. And this might have the same thing like most sports games. Unless you're playing multiplayer, it could get boring very quickly. As soon as I finish the first season and probably win the Super Bowl because I'm 4-0 at the moment, what else do I do? Do I do another season? Is there any progression for that? There isn't at the moment. So it's a hard sell for people $30 unless you really like it. But
I don't play like sports games normally, so I have no idea what to expect.
Anyway, that was a big bullet point review, so we went on for a little bit.
I wanted to share a game that I've been playing, but I played
go for it.
And this was on stream, but I feel like it needs to be mentioned. So have you guys heard of Inner Cosmos 2000?
Yes, I've not played it, but I remember reading it on the podcast. It was coming out recently.
So I had like no I don't know. Like usually when I go into a live stream, I just play a game that I have no idea what it is about. The only criteria I have for my games that I play is that I cannot be scary. That's it. Like I
Makes
always ask,
sense.
is it scary? Is there anything that's gonna jump and chase me down? Because that's not happening here.
Sounds like Samson.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, why would I want to be stressed out when I'm playing a game? I want to have fun.
There's something about
Anyway,
it. It's something sick. I can't even explain. I'm in that opposite camp. But
yeah,
anyway, continue.
no, I get it. Um, so I had no expectation. I didn't know what this was going to be about. And like as I mentioned earlier, like I have a background in space, and working in space, and so I just or like working on space stuff.
Hmm.
So like that's kind of one of like my things that I'm really interested in. And this game, oh my God, it's so fucking good.
Really? Wow.
Basically, yeah, well, it's hard. It's very hard. So basically, like you've heard of like Microsoft Flight Simulator where you're like flying a
Yeah.
plane and stuff. So this
Yeah.
is that, except you're flying like a spacecraft, and
Mm.
it is like it's wild because like you're not just like if you're doing like a driving game or whatever, you're just on a 2D plane,
Yeah.
whatever. But like when you're flying a spacecraft, you're having to care about like all dimensions.
Mm.
Plus, you're like because you can't just like brake. There's no such thing as just pressing a brake. You have to like do a backwards
Yeah.
thrust and like all this crazy stuff. And it was just, and then like when you have to like try to dock your spaceship to like attach to, whatever base that you're trying to go to, and you have to like perfectly align like your stuff. It was so hard. I was like, this is mad. And I'm like, wait, but now can I be an astronaut though? It
Sign
was
me
just
That's the
up.
really fun. It
test.
was real fun. I don't know how fun
Nice.
it is for people to watch, but I
What
think
did
it's
your
Inner Cosmos
yeah,
in their Cosmos 2000.
2000.
2000.
Yeah, it's the new one.
What did
Uh,
your like the people on the stream, what did they think about it?
they thought it was really funny to watch me because I was just
Yeah.
so stressed out the whole time. Like, but not in a way that something was attacking me. I was like, so
Like
basically,
overcooked, stressed out. Like you gotta,
kind
yeah.
of, yeah. And it was okay. So what was happening was I was trying to attach to the ISS, but every time I kept like overshooting it. And so then like
Mhm.
because you're like on Earth's like gravitational pull, you keep being circled around and you keep passing, you're just like, oh God, there it goes again, there it goes again, there it goes again. And it was just like shoot. And so then I tried to like fly towards it, but then like I don't know how to control my thrust. And I just go flying right past
Yeah.
it. I was like, oh no, there it goes again. And you just keep flying back and forth like real because it's hard. Like the amount of like control you have to
Mm.
fine tune is intense. And then once I got into like the actual gameplay, like you're not just caring about flying your spacecraft, you actually have to take care of your spacecraft. So sometimes the electronics, like the electrical components and stuff mess up. And so you have to like route the power or something. I don't know anything about
Mm.
electrical stuff. Like I hate electrical. I got a C in that class in college when I had to
Yeah,
take
yeah.
engineering. So not for me.
You did
Uh,
mechanical, not electrical for a
yeah,
reason.
but they still make you take an electrical class and it's just like,
Yeah, I know.
yeah. And then so there's that. And then there's also you have to manage like the gas levels
Mm.
in your spacecraft because
Jesus.
like you have oxygen which you need to breathe and then you like
Breathe out
exhale
this, yeah.
CO2 which is like toxic and then you need the nitrogen to maintain like the pressure level in the aircraft. And so like you have to think about that. But then when I was messing with it, I kept like, I don't know, I wasn't good at it, I guess. And so all my pipes kept like exploding, like my gas pipes kept having leaks. And so I'm like trying to fly my spacecraft and like overshooting it. And I was like, oh gosh, my pipe like exploded again. So I have to
Your
like go
pipes are
like
bursting.
fly to the back and try to fix that. And then all of a sudden it was just like it's like a hot mess. And so
Is it more to do with that? Is that what it is in terms of you're faced with all these problems that are happening in your spaceship and you're kind of trying to fix that in order to like succeed? Or is that one of the key elements, but then it has extra stuff to it? Or is that pretty much it?
I think the key thing you're supposed to do is actually like you have a mission from like whatever you're an astronaut, you have a mission, you're supposed to accomplish that mission, but in
Mm-hmm.
the process of accomplishing that mission you're also getting a lot of like survival-y stuff that you have to take
Mm.
care of. So it's like I think of it almost like Green Hell is a survival game.
Yeah.
This one is also a survival game with a goal and a mission, but you're
Mm.
now trying to survive in space. Ultimately I died because someone was like saying that I needed to like put my thrust harder when I'm trying to get closer to the ISS because I kept missing it.
Yeah.
And so then I put my thrust hard and I'm like
Crash
Smashed
right
in.
into
yeah.
it.
So you also smashed the ISS and
Yeah, and then I exploded and I was like, you guys told me you said to go like faster. And they were like, yeah, but not just to get close to it, not to like explode. And I
Yeah,
was like, oh. So
yeah.
it's a very interesting, I mean, I loved it. I've had a lot of fun. I've always wanted to like feel like what it's like to be in space. I
Yeah.
think too, like Red Matter 2 is kind of similar in that
Hmm.
instead of like flying the spacecraft, you're actually like exploring the different bases.
Yeah.
So I almost feel like those two games are kind of
Put
like
them together and you've got the perfect space game in a way.
they're very complementary, and I'm enjoying them a lot right now.
Nice, nice. And I also see that I just reading up on it as you were talking here that they're bringing a sandbox mode to it as well.
Oh, I
It's
don't know.
something, yeah, yeah, they
I'll
said
probably
they're
not finish.
working hard on a sandbox mode that will open up the
Yeah.
game. So hopefully that will come sooner rather than later, just to kind of bolster the game a little bit more. Maybe when you finished all it, have you completed it yet or not yet?
No, heck no. I
Yeah.
know I hardly ever finish any games. I'm so bad that
Tell
like
me,
if I
Same.
finish a game,
same
that is
here.
impressive. Yeah.
I don't think I've seen the credits for a VR game yet, like period. I feel
Mm,
like I've always, I mean, I guess Pistol Whip kind of because they're so small campaigns.
mm,
You got those credits, but that's about it, I think, because Walking Dead I still haven't completed, Medal of Honor
mm.
I still haven't completed.
Yeah.
I've not even
I
completed Red
did
Dead 1.
I did the Edge of Nowhere, but I knew that it was only going to be a 5 to 6 hour game, and I was like, I'm
Mm.
crushing this in one sitting,
That's
or
still
I'm
pretty
not
good.
coming back to it. Yeah.
I finished Red Matter 1. That was the first one I ever finished. And I was like, but it's so good.
It is really good
Like it's so good. So I couldn't stop. And then like if you haven't finished it, you need to finish it
to
because
play
it has
too.
well, not even that, but like the
Oh.
storyline in Red Matter 1 is so good. It has like the
Mm.
biggest plot twist, and you're just like, what the actual
Oh
what?
my gosh.
Like it literally after I played it, I was like, what the heck just happened? And it was like it almost feels like like you're watching a TV show. To
Yeah.
me, it felt like Stranger Things, and the
Mm.
plot twist at the end. I was just like, this is fucking ridiculous. I gotta
Oh
go on Reddit and
wow.
see what everyone else is saying. Uh,
Yeah, that kind of inspired me to go back. I've like I every time I jump back into the game, I
it's
love
just
playing
hard.
it. It's just
Yeah.
yeah, it's when you get stuck. I
Yeah.
remember getting stuck one. I can't remember exactly where, but I remember there was screens
Everywhere.
everywhere. Yeah, yeah, I get
Yeah,
stuck everywhere.
everywhere.
And I just got stuck and I was doing the same thing over and over again,
Is
jumping
it in
up
the
and
back
down.
room?
It was in a room where it had like tons of TV screens. It was like the control room in a way.
And it was
Um,
like red-ish looking
It
and
wasn't. It was all gray. It's been a while. I can't remember
okay.
exactly. Because I restarted the game actually maybe a month ago.
Mhm.
I think it was my last game that I played before like having a break of VR just unintentionally.
Mm.
But yeah, I want to get back into it because I really want to play Red Matter 2 as well. But I don't want to play that, and I can't play that until I do this one. But then I also have to finish Walking Dead because Walking Dead's coming out in like a month's time
Ah,
probably. And then I'm like, I
Yeah,
need
he's
to finish
screwed.
this. Yeah. Anyway, we were playing VR again,
Screwed.
but
yeah.
speaking on the games, actually, Jasmine, what is there anything in fall that you're looking forward to or really anticipating?
Oh, easy. Among Us. When Among Us comes
Oh
out,
yeah.
that's gonna change everything. I
Yeah.
think, yeah, I'm very ready for that. I think so. My stance on this is I feel like most of the multiplayer games end up being shooters or like scary games or both at the same time.
Hmm.
Um, and except for like Walkabout Mini Golf, pretty much, or and Demio, those are like the only two, and then I guess Cookout. But like everything else is like action, action,
Yeah. It's
action.
saturated, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm just like, I think the market is so ready for like a casual, fun game. I mean,
Mm,
remember what happened when Animal Crossing came out and everyone was just like, and it's
yeah.
not even technically multiplayer, but it's like multiplayer.
Because
Uh,
everyone's talking about it as well, right? That's
Yeah.
the thing as well.
yeah, and I think we're ready. I think that's the next step for like the VR market is to actually have a multiplayer game that is playable by everybody
Yeah.
Hmm.
to like bridge everyone together.
I'm curious on its price point a little. If it's free, it's going to be
Um,
flooded with a lot of people and mostly children. But
Yeah.
so
I
I'm kind of hoping for a small price.
I think it would cost $10, I would say. I don't think it would be too much.
I mean, that's more than it cost. I think it's only 5 on
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
Steam and most. I'm not sure what it is on consoles, but I'm very excited. I mean,
I
the
can't
first
wait.
time I get killed, I'm going to scream. I know it. It's gonna,
Oh, right. Yeah, because you're gonna freak out.
yeah, I'm just gonna be like, what?
I mean, it's gonna be every time that I die, I'm gonna
Yeah,
freak
it's
Yeah,
out.
true.
But
yeah,
then I'm
every
also
single
gonna be
time.
like, who the F? Like backstab me, backstabbing.
God.
It's very exciting because it's a completely different way to play. And I know people have recreated Among Us in VR chat and such, but it's
In
just
Yeah,
Neos, yeah.
not the
and
same.
Neos as well. But this is like official, and they'll bring some extra elements, probably the extra new mechanics that you can only do through VR. I mean, we kind of saw it in the trailer that they showed recently, where they were doing different puzzles that you could only really do in VR and such. But it's gonna be, I think it's gonna, Among Us outside of VR is kind of, I wouldn't say dead, but it's trailing off
Yeah.
from what
My
it used
group's
to
even
be.
stopped playing. Yeah.
Yeah, it's still very popular, but like it's not as what it used to be, right? And I think this is going to breathe new life. And I think you're right, Jasmine. I think people have been crying out for a game that's not just, I mean, we are still killing people in a way, but it is different. It is completely different and it's multiplayer centric. And I think people on their like Christmas vacation for a week, this could be a big hit.
Oh
Yeah,
man.
I feel like I feel like
Yeah. When's
everybody,
it coming out? Gee.
They
it's
just said
December.
holiday 2022. But I feel like it's gonna be really great too for like all the content creators to be able to like play and collaborate together. It'll be
Yeah,
great.
I hope they
absolutely.
meant Rosh Hashanah.
Hmm. I hope they mean Halloween. That's kind of the
Yeah,
best one,
right.
right?
Every holiday, I'm just gonna be like, now.
Holiday, yeah. So it'd probably be what, maybe end of like Thanksgiving, end of November to December,
Yeah,
basically.
yeah.
I mean, Meta have been known to put out big games towards that era. I remember when Medal of Honor came
Mm,
out in December 10th, around that time. They had another big game which escapes my mind though, that also came out in December. So
mhm.
it makes sense too because they have Walking Dead, which is their big one, and then they have Bone Works or Bone Lab rather.
Bone Lab. Yeah.
That is their two, and then they have Among Us, right? They're like their three major games because Moss has come out, Red Matter's come out, Status or
You're
Forever.
forgetting. You're
What am I
forgetting
forgetting?
Assassin's Creed and
Gone,
GTA
gone.
San Andreas.
GTA. I called it. I remember saying it on. We had like a predictions, or not predictions. We had a live stream when we watched that. Was it live stream? No, it came out in the Connect, wasn't it? It was last year, right?
Yeah.
And I said on the day, I was like, "This is not going to come out. This is not. We're gonna see." I mean, Splinter Cell's officially cancelled. Assassin's Creed feel like it's done now, because they had their Assassin's Creed thing the other day and nothing. And GTA, I don't know. I think Rockstar got bigger problems right now after that leak that just happened this weekend over GTA 6. So, but those are the three games, right? So you got Among Us, Bone Lab, and Walking Dead. I don't think I'm missing any that was shown in the gaming showcase. Maybe people on the listening to the podcast going, "Oh, you're forgetting this one," but I think that was it pretty much. So Among Us could be December, Bone Lab could be what, November, Walking Dead October. It makes too much sense to me.
October, yeah, that would make sense for Walking Dead, right?
Yeah.
Makes sense because Halloween makes sense because also that's when it came out last time as well for
Mm.
Quest. It's the perfect time. I can see yeah, and I don't know I don't know if they want to release it at the same time as the Cambria because that will, or Quest Pro rather, because that will be out in October too. Could be one of those games that goes hand in hand as well. So yeah, I could see like that seems like a too nice of a timeline. Meta, they're not as nice as that. They'll just drop it whenever, but that seems to make sense. I don't know if any of you disagree, but I see December as an Among Us.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Maybe end of November so that people can have time to dip into it during like Thanksgiving. But if they did that, then it would have a drop before in December. So I think they probably go like closer to the holidays. That way it just like ramps up and
Hmm.
keeps ramping up as long as they possibly can.
I
What games
hope
are you
Yeah.
guys excited for?
it's funny because I haven't finished Walking Dead 1, but I'm really excited Walking Dead 2. I'm really excited. I just love that game and I really need to finish it because I'm really excited to play the second one. That would
Watch the
be,
game gave me a heart attack, honestly.
yeah,
So freaking scary.
that game, the first one, and I speak about it on the podcast all the time, Medal of Honor as well, are the two games I think in VR that I've been so immersed in. So immersed that I really feel like I'm actually playing a part, if you ever see me playing
He's
Walking
a
Dead,
World War II veteran over here.
yeah, my Medal of Honor, I'm literally rolling down on the floor, like it's crawling, when I'm in the other room out there. But with Walking Dead, I am literally tense. I'm playing it really immersed. It really immerses me. So Yeah,
because it's
Walking
a
Dead is
tense
definitely up
game.
there. It's a tense
I
game. There's a lot of aspects that I love. I love that world of Walking Dead.
mm,
And unlike you, Jasmine, and unlike Samson, I really like getting scared, and I don't know why, because I hated it as a child, and I still don't like Halloween to this day. But for some reason, in VR and in gaming, I really like, there's something about it. How about you, Samson?
I am
Among Us.
most looking forward to Among Us. Yeah,
great.
it's
Yeah.
what I say on most videos that ask this question lately. So what are you looking forward to? People are like Bone Lab. I'm like, I'm looking forward to Among Us. And just like whatever, honestly, this Half-Life 2 mod's pretty cool. And this flat to VR, like whatever they got going on, being able to VRize a lot of flat games, which you just use the controller and you can look around,
Hmm.
really up my alley. So I'm looking forward to whatever comes out modded like that.
Yeah, Jasmine, have you tried the Half-Life mod yet or not?
No,
No.
I played. Oh man, you guys like, everyone like needs to go watch the games where I play a scary game on my live stream because it is just like people. It is like I'm so I this you'll see immediately why I can play
I
scary
should.
games.
I'm gonna write a note. I need to go see one of your horror game live streams.
I do get scared playing just the Half-Life game
I
for
was
sure.
gonna say, yeah, because I played the Half-Life game.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, we're gonna keep playing until I get too scared to play. And it was like as I was getting to the little crab head guys, well, first I got scared because there was all the like stupid like dead zombies like with their faces all bleeding, and I was just like, "Bleh." Like it's so gross. And I was like, I don't even want to walk past them because I'm so grossed out. But which happened to me too on The Walking Dead, like that first guy they have to walk past with a little
Yeah,
like accident. I was like,
yeah,
ugh.
yeah,
Ugh. Anyway, and then I
Pretty
started getting
gory.
to the parts with like the little crab guy, the crab head guys, and I was like, screw this. Oh my God, no, you're kidding me. And then I was like, okay, that one's dead, it's fine. Then we kept going, and I just like,
yeah.
oh my gosh, I panicked. So the question was Half-Life? No, no.
No.
I try
I
them as long as I can get, and I'm like, "Ugh, okay, I'm done. That is everyone's treat. I'm done.
I like the idea of them more than I actually like hopping into them. I did
Mm.
play that I always forget the name of it, that cell shaded one.
Oh,
Um
lies beneath.
Lies Beneath.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I started playing that, but I made a friend hop on Discord and watch and talk to me while I played.
Mm.
Mm.
And having someone there for me made it more bearable. At one point, he's like, "Dude, I think something's gone wrong." And then he looked at my camera and he saw me just curled up on the on the floor. He's like, "Oh no, it's just you looking at the ground."
That's
To
so funny.
avoid, I just like couldn't take what was going on. So I was just like, I know if I just look at the ground, I'll be good. It's
At
like
least
when you hop on a VR roller coaster, just shut your eyes if you can't handle it.
Oh
Just
my
you're
gosh, at
good.
least you can do that. For me, I'm like, I have to take my headset off.
Yeah.
I can't like
And
if
then you're
I
worried that there's someone there when you take it off as well. You're just like, one of those like in the movies where you're in the bathroom and you got those mirrors and you close the mirror and then you see someone behind you. It's the same
oh
with
my-
VR. You're like, oh God, is someone outside now? Like, if I take this headset off?
You just feel like you have to rip it off, Justin. Just get me out of here.
yeah, and I yeah, you guys know I have a husky and like you're gonna see her in every single like stream where I'm playing a scary game because I start screaming and she'll like literally sit right next to me in every single one. Um
Oh, you got someone protecting you.
yeah, yeah.
I
It's
saw it. I watched one of your live streams this morning, just for preparation of this, and it was the Vario Aero one, and I saw the Husky come in straight away, like right at the start of the stream,
um,
just on the left, and I was like, it's a nice little addition. By the way, I like how in content creation you kind of always do your full body in in the green screen. That's kind of your
oh
mixed reality set, right? And then you've kind of put that into each of your gameplays.
yeah, I just have the green screen behind me and I like just overlay myself on top of the game. I don't gosh, doing like proper like mixed reality with the Quest 2 is just such a pain.
Pain.
So
Yeah.
I'm fine. This is great, good enough.
Even doing what you're doing is, I know how much work and effort goes into
Yeah.
it, and like there's always something that goes awry.
Yeah.
I always had the biggest problem with like getting chat working and like being able to like see and or read it or hear it. And
Oh
I was
yeah.
just like, this is just too, like, I felt like I needed somebody with me to do this. Like, I'll play the game over here and talk to people, and you read me the chat and like
That would be
interact with
so
people,
nice. That
Yeah,
would
an
be
right?
so
assistant. You need an
nice.
assistant.
Yeah, I need. I've like really thought about like asking a local high school or something if they need some like try to get a free intern.
The Quest games that I play, I've started doing this thing where I have like my chat open on my iPad, and then I have my iPad like on a table in front of me,
Hmm.
and I just like look through the nose and I read the chat. But
Yeah.
I think because I've streamed so much, like before you're so focused on like having everything perfectly perfect. But like my everyone knows in my community, like if you're watching me live, there's bound to be a ton of tech issues. It's
Yeah.
kind of just like, and
Just it
so
is
How
I'm
what
it
it
just
is.
is.
like,
Yeah.
yeah, and so they kind of expect that, and then you can always take it out after too. If you're
Hmm.
posting it on YouTube, you can edit it out. So, um, but yeah, so like, and I'm just like, wow, you guys are still here, even though like we've literally just had 30 minutes of issues. That's great, and
That's some loyal fan base right there.
Yeah.
Do
yeah,
you
I'm surprised.
do you predominantly play through the Quest on PC VR, or is there a specific headset that you prefer?
No, I just am using the Quest. I'm like for like the past year, I've been like, oh, should I get a Valve Index? Should I get a Valve Index? But I was like, gosh, this thing's so old. Like, why would I get that? Doesn't make
Yeah,
any sense. Then I'm like, something's gonna come out soon, and then like nothing, and
it's
I'm like,
not.
oh
It's never
gosh,
have. No.
I know. And so I'm kind of just like, fine, I'll just use the Quest. And like I do have like I have the Vario Aero now. But the thing with it is, it's like it is such a hassle to like set up. Um,
Hmm.
because like it does have automatic IPD adjustments every time you lift your headset off, which I do often, especially if I'm streaming.
Yeah.
If I'm like having to set up, then like every time you put it back on, there's like the IPD like calibration that has to happen that you have to like look at. So it takes a couple of
Oh,
seconds. And then also you have to like put on the earphones, doesn't have a built-in speaker or
yeah,
microphone. And
yeah.
so like that's another thing where it's just like, and then
What
yeah,
are
and
the
then
controllers you use for it?
oh, I'm using the Vive ones, the original one, and I think that is the part that's probably the worst out of all of it.
Mm,
Is like those things are just bleh.
Yeah.
But if I had the index controllers, I think would have been better. But yeah, so now I'm mostly just using my Quest 2 because it's just like I said, anything that is hard, I'm just like, never mind, I'm
Too
good.
much friction. Yeah.
Yeah.
that just reminded me, by the way, just it's completely tangent, but obviously the PSVR got hands-on from a lot of news
Mm.
outlets, and VR Oasis as well, I think is the only content creator who got it, which was awesome. But one thing that really bummed me out from that reveal was that there's no audio. It's you have to plug in headphones. There's no audio out the
Oh,
actual
I didn't realize.
headset. Yeah, that's what I've read from a couple of people. I don't know if maybe it was just because of the demo or such, and they gave you headphones, but that's what I read, and I hope that's not the case because then you have to go get some headphones as well, and it's kind of another barrier. And plus, when you're wearing headphones and you've already got a cable connected, then you've got a couple
Yeah.
of cables going on, and sometimes that's what I love about the Quest is sometimes you take it for granted how it's just so easy just to pop
Mhm.
on and you're good to go. You have the audio. Okay, it's not as good as headphones, but still good enough at most times. When I play Walkabout, for example, with the Discord, I'm always just using the built-in speakers because it's like I don't need like the best speakers here or anything.
Mhm.
And it's that barrier of entry, which is one of the falling points for most VR systems, which it's a weird thing that the Vario Aero does that, that it doesn't just save your setting so you can, when
It's
you can,
because every time you put on your head, it's kind of situated a little differently.
right.
So like sometimes I'll be like, oh, it's too high on your head, put it back down a little bit lower. So that's why it
Mm,
has to recalibrate every time
Mm.
got it, got it.
When
I see.
convenience becomes inconvenient.
if you're live streaming.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they make it, yeah, it makes it even worse when you've got people waiting for you as well and such.
And I'm just like, hang on, gotta
Yeah,
calibrate.
hold
And then
on.
wait, what? You can't hear me? Oh my gosh, my headphones not connected properly. What?
Yeah. It sounds like the day in the life of a streamer, to be honest. It
Of
seems
a
like
VR
quite common.
streamer,
Yeah.
especially. Yeah.
Yeah, that's also something that when speaking about PSVR that we just did, that could be exciting is like it's meant to be much easier to just stream
Mm.
where you can just press the share button like you can do on the PS5 and PS4 at the moment and go straight live, but with VR you can also do that and then it will do like I don't know, like on Zoom right now that I've got the background, you've got the background, it's automatically taking the background off even if you don't have a green screen
Oh, that's
with
cool.
the PlayStation Eye. So that's a really cool feature that could make it easier for just live streamers.
What's the
It-
PlayStation Eye?
it's I don't know if it's called the PlayStation Eye anymore, but it's the camera. It's the camera that you can have for the PS5. Yeah, it's like
Cool.
$60 or something like that. But if you have
Mm.
that camera, essentially you can press live and it will put you live straight away, which might be quite big for streamers in a way. Could get rid of all that barrier, you
Yeah.
know.
That'd be awesome.
So I don't know if
Next up,
it's
they just need a Discord connection.
yeah, that's been coming for years or for
Yeah.
months or whatever. But yeah, so that might be another major selling point for the PSVR 2, to be honest, to get rid of that barrier of entry, because that yeah, people getting into streaming. I remember when we had Gamertag on this a couple of months ago, he talked about it as well. He's said it's not easy. It's like, why is it so easy to go through flat screen games? You can just share, you're good. Okay, maybe you'll have like a mic audio issue and that's about it, you know. But there's so many different little bits that can go wrong with VR
Yeah.
streaming, as you know. So yeah.
And also you have to stand and it takes a lot of more energy, and it's just like, why?
It's like, why am I doing this? And it's like, oh, I got some cool people that like to watch me, which is cool.
But also like just playing games with people, like with a
Way
chat, is
better.
just so much more fun. Like it's not it's almost like not even satisfying to play games without chat.
Alone. Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
I agree. I
So I'm
think
just like, did you see that? Oh, nobody saw it. It's just me.
exactly. No, yeah, games, especially in VR, and as Samson, you probably agree 100%, is that multiplayer is all the way. If it doesn't have multiplayer, it's like, shall I get this? Only if it's like really, really good.
Only if it's Red Matter Inner Cosmos.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it's honestly, this is a rare week for me. Normally, it's most of my playing is Synth Riders to work out, and so playing Half-Life 2 and Puzzling Places pretty rare. But the Puzzling Place I do like just chilling out and doing puzzles. You don't like
It's therapeutic.
what's going on. Yeah. I was
Maybe I
like
should
listening
try.
to football doing it. Yeah, I'm a big fan of this Puzzling Places game.
You know, I've been playing Candy Crush a lot. Imagine
Love
me.
it.
But I'm like, maybe I should switch to Puzzling Places. Maybe that's like a,
Yeah.
better upgrade.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good time. And I liked Cubism, but I always got to like a point where I just couldn't really
It's too hard.
it would get too hard. Whereas at Puzzling Places, if it's like if I'm like, oh, I chose 400 pieces, this was a bit overzealous of me, like I could just go back and do a smaller
That kind of
puzzle.
sounds fun. Okay, maybe
Yeah.
I'll do that.
Yeah, you got like a bunch of options. You can pause, go back, you can chill out. It's
Okay.
fun.
Puzzling Places is excellent. Yeah.
All right, yeah.
Good amount of DLC at this point too, but a lot of free
much.
stuff. A lot of free stuff.
And
Nice.
it's also in AR as well. There's an AR experimental mode.
Yeah. Yeah, it worked pretty well with the I use like the mixed reality iOS app made by somebody, and it worked pretty reasonably well with that. Yeah.
That's cool. I need to try that app still.
Yeah, highly recommend.
Oh,
Jasmine.
I will say though,
Yeah.
if you do buy it, make sure you open it up where you do have internet to download the like
puzzles.
even the free puzzles. Yeah, because I bought it and then took the headset with me to work, figuring I could just like, and then I was like,
Oh,
oh,
it's
nothing's here.
That's devastating. Jasmine, I'm gonna ask you, how is obviously just began TikTok. I guess the most recent kind of form of creation that you have is TikTok. How has that been going from you've gone from live streaming to videos, and now from videos to the short TikTok? Like, how is TikTok going? Because I know you do YouTube Shorts as well, but how is like the actual platform of TikTok working?
So TikTok for me has like been going really well compared to me. I'm almost like, man, is it worth all this effort to be doing these YouTube videos? But like, you can't go into the deep dive on TikTok videos. So like sometimes there is those times where I want to go into a deep dive. But yeah, TikTok's been great. Like, okay, there's I'm gonna like you're gonna know my personality so well now. I'm like anything that is like, any friction, anything that makes things like more like difficult or complicated, I just want to do it. And on TikTok, like there's not as much pressure to have like this super highly produced content. And so I can literally film some of my TikToks in like 2 minutes, 5 minutes, and they'll still get more views on my YouTube videos. And I was like,
Yeah.
this is great. I'm like, y'all have like the same level of like impatience as I do. Perfect. Let's go for it. So yeah, it's been really good. I think it's hard to get your audience though out of TikTok.
Yeah.
Well, like first, I think okay, so moving your audience from Twitch to like YouTube, you probably get like a 30%-ish, maybe less
Retention. Yeah.
conversion. On TikTok, the conversion is like, I don't know, 2% or something. Like it's basically non-existent. Like if they're on
People are
TikTok,
staying on TikTok. Yeah.
yeah, they're not going on your YouTube channel. So if you're using that as a strategy to get like more subscribers on YouTube, unless you become like Tech Man or someone that gets like millions.
Yeah.
I think even he
Not gonna convert.
struggles
He
to convert
struggles.
from TikTok to YouTube.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just a completely different platform. But for me, like I do like there's a lot of stuff that comes up in my mind that I'm like I want to share. And I just don't have the energy to make like a full YouTube video about it. So TikTok's been great for just like posting those small, like
Yeah.
small information bites that I'm just like, I'm not gonna make a video on this. Like, who's gonna spend that many hours to spend to make a video? So so yeah, so that's been fun in that sense.
Do you normally have the same like your YouTube shorts? Are they the same as the TikTok? Do you post them on both, or are they a bit different?
I don't post all of them on YouTube, but yeah, I basically haven't created YouTube short specific content. And I think like some of my TikToks will like be a hit on YouTube shorts, but a lot of them don't don't get picked up, which is surprising because like some of these do really well on TikTok. The interesting thing though is pretty much every TikTok that I post onto Instagram instantly gets like thousands of views.
Yeah.
So that's been that's been
so
really
Reels have also been good. Awesome.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like my Reels like more often than not perform better than like the YouTube shorts, which is weird. But I also don't post I don't post every TikTok on YouTube and I don't post every TikTok on Instagram. I'm kind of like feeling out which ones make sense for the platform and only post those ones, but I don't create special content for YouTube or Instagram at the moment. Although I think like it might be time to like do some research and actually cater like some YouTube shorts for YouTube.
I guess the YouTube crowd is very different to the TikTok crowd, right? There might be the same kind of people, but you're on TikTok for a certain thing, right? You're expecting the shorts, where YouTube you're probably expecting more long form. I know my dad loves YouTube shorts, but I think that's because he doesn't have TikTok. But Instagram, I was going to ask you about that one because I'm glad you're doing it because Techman, when he was on a couple weeks ago, he mentioned the same thing now. Like he's been branching out to Instagram and it's doing much better than he ever expected. Like how the shorts have worked out for him. So
yeah, but it's not converting to like followers though, really.
Right.
Like I had one Instagram reel that hit over 2 million and I like still only have like less than 3,000 followers.
Yeah.
It's not converting.
People are swiping, maybe liking, but they're not clicking further.
So I have been like, so remember how earlier you guys asked if I'm like a full-time content creator? And I was like, well, kind of, but I'm doing other stuff on the side that's like makes the income in VR. So I do a lot of like social media marketing management for like different VR games and like publishers. That's what I'm doing on the side. And so I do spend a lot of time like studying these things. And if I was going to give you like a strategy, I would say just like Instagram, like I wouldn't even focus on it. VR is like non-existent on it. Like the most I'll do on Instagram is like repost stuff and see if it like, if it picks up. But like that's not a place that like VR people aren't living on Instagram. No. It's just not, the community is not there. And then I think the difference too between like TikTok and then like the YouTube shorts is like on TikTok, you're expecting to like I feel like on YouTube shorts, it's like a lot more generic type of content that people are seeing. They're not like, if they're looking at shorts, they're kind of just like whatever. They're not looking for something specific per se, but on TikTok, people are like, because it's been around for a while, people are looking for specifics. So like if someone wants a lot of like VR content, especially like tutorials and tips and stuff, they'll go to my TikTok because they're wanting that. But YouTube shorts isn't at that point yet.
Right. Do you ever cut up like things from your live streams? Or okay.
But my some of my moderators like sometimes will like clip stuff like, oh gosh, just one time I was playing Vermilion and I was like so it's really embarrassing, but like in real life when I'm doing the random chores, I told you as I used to sing a lot when I was growing up. And so sometimes if I'm like doing a random chore, I just start singing about what I'm doing. And because like on like when I was playing Vermilion, I'm just
Painting.
painting
Yeah.
and like no one's really talking to me. So I just start singing. I'm like, now I'm painting a mouth and I'm doing this. And I was like doing and then they like my moderator clipped that and I was like, you're so rude. And so I posted that and that did really well. I posted it as like how like other VR like when other people play VR and I really showed Tech Man doing his blade and sorcery stuff. I'm like when I play VR and just like me painting a mouth and singing about
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
This is why you're dying for Among Us to come out rather than like
Yeah.
another zombie shooter or
Because
anything like that.
I can't play those. I just I like my chill stuff
Yeah, yeah. I get
agree.
it.
or my puzzle stuffs.
I see Tech Man's like every once in a while in his Discord. He's like, "Who wants to like play a competitive game?" And I'm like, "Rec Room Paintball." Like,
Rec Room Paintball was real fun.
yeah,
It was
but
real
that's like
fun.
the extent of my
Yeah.
skills as a shooter game.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's
That's
like
where they
after the
end.
fall or something like that.
I've
I
hopped in, but
watched
oof.
Yeah.
I watched people play and I was like, this whole floor is just painted red. Like I was like,
It's a
they
very
should have just
gory
made it
game.
red. I was like, I can't. I was like, is there an option to turn the blood off on this at least? Maybe I'll play then. And then
There
this is
is
It's like in Gorn. In Gorn, you can make the blood and like party.
oh
You know,
different,
it's
yeah,
like
yeah. Like
yeah,
confetti
party
and
stuff.
such.
you
Yeah,
can?
yeah.
What? Wait, I might try that now. That sounds fun. I
Yeah.
I told somebody who knew the synth writer people, I was like, can you or no, was it not synth writer, the pistol whip people? I was
Hmm.
like, can you tell them that instead of like people, can it be like cute little animals? And then instead of shooting them, can I be like trying to throw or like, shoot their like
Feed them.
carrots? Yeah,
Shoot,
yeah.
throw treats at him.
Yeah, I was like, this is just like when they start like, attacking me or shooting at me, I'm like, this is too much. I'm like, they could be throwing like tomatoes at me or something. Like, can we just, make this a little less intense, but still the same gameplay?
Hmm.
They said
Yeah.
no.
I was gonna say, I was like, okay, then is that the next
The
update?
They
next
said
DLC.
no. But watch, someone's gonna come out with it and it's gonna do great.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the mod it.
yeah. It's gonna do amazing. Jasmine, you went to Pax West recently, right?
Yeah, I
Oh,
did.
how's that?
That was fun. I've been going to a lot of conventions this year. So I went to CES at the beginning of the year, then AWE.
Hmm.
And so like that was all very heavy on tech, heavy on like, products.
Yeah.
And then PAX was just all gaming, which was fun. But there wasn't that much VR there. It was
Mm.
probably like 10 booths. So I could do the whole thing in like a couple
Yeah.
hours. There was no
Yeah.
need for me to do like 4 full days there. Whereas when I've gone to other conferences like CS and AW, we're like, there's not enough time. We're like
Mm.
so stressed. Everything's like back to back. I'm like, your feet hurt. Well, suck it up because we gotta film. And at PAX, you were just like, well, now what? Do we just like have fun? Like, I don't
Yeah.
understand what we're supposed to do. Like, do we just like enjoy ourselves? Don't we got work to do here? But yeah, it
Did
was
you
fun because then got
did
to
you
play some games.
did you spend the whole weekend there, or was it just the day you went for?
No, we
No.
all had like full passes because we had media passes. So,
Perfect.
but like I didn't even go the last day, and then the other days that I was there, I was kind of like going really late, leaving
Mm.
early,
Yeah.
just meandering around, like
No
really.
pressure.
Yeah, and it
Did you?
was fun because I got to play a lot of like 2D games, like
Mm.
Hello Neighbor. I never played that before. Have
Yeah.
you heard of that game?
Yeah. Yeah. I remember that game. Yeah. It's
Have
been
you
out
heard
for
of
a
it,
while, I
Jackson?
think.
I know nothing about it, but I've
Okay.
seen like its imagery. But go, please tell me. Yes.
Apparently, it's like this neighbor like steals kids or something, so you have to like sneak into his house to try to get clues or something like that.
Hmm.
Okay.
I had never played it before, like PAX, and my sister was there with me, and we spent a lot of time when we were younger playing, like one of us playing, the other one like watching.
Hmm.
So we did that when we were at this booth, and like we couldn't hear the audio, and like literally when the guy would pop up, like the neighbor would
You
find
just
us like in his house, her and I would start screaming, like and like the people next to us were like, holy crap, I got scared from you guys screaming, not even my own name. And then because
That's
we were
funny.
both just like freaking out the whole time, and I'm telling you, this is exactly what happens when I play theory games. And that's not
Mm.
even scary. It's a cute game.
and a 2D game too.
Anyway, and then like so some people were even like, I don't even want to play anymore. I just want to watch you guys play. Um,
I was about to ask because I know Hello Neighbor came out ages ago, but I just Googled it and I realized it must be the second one that you played because that's the one that's coming out in
yeah,
December,
yeah.
which is cool.
Mhm. Yeah.
The game
Uh,
must have done well.
But yeah, so
Yeah.
PAX was fun, just like playing games. And then after the convention, like there was always after parties for VR stuff. So got to meet a lot of VR people, hang out with VR people.
Nice.
That's always nice. Do you guys go to conventions?
I
Well,
went to PAX East for the last day or two, and I found some very similar. I was like, all right, I feel like I've done all the VR stuff pretty quickly
what's
here.
next?
Yeah.
And it's also like, why do I have to try these things here on a public headset when I can
Mm,
just do this at home? Like there was nothing unique or different. They're using a
Yeah.
Quest 2 as well. Like there's except for the fact that it's out earlier. But
Yeah.
as like a creator, you can usually ask to like get early
yeah.
access and stuff. So it was like I don't.
Well, one of the biggest things is like TGS Tokyo Game Show that has the PSVR there, so it's the first
Mm,
time you can actually play it as a
yeah,
consumer.
that's
So
cool.
that would be like, even though the wait times were, I think they're like 2 hours or 3 hours or something crazy.
It's like going to see the Queen's coffin.
A little bit shorter, but yeah.
Uh,
Um,
there was
I've
also Demio at a PAX, and they had like a
the
area where you can
AR.
like, no, just in general.
Okay, just
Demio
general.
was there, and so there's like a table where four people could play, and
Mm.
so they had like a different content creators like play at their booth. So I got to do that for a couple of hours, and like the whole like I was like trying to prepare for it. I'm like, okay, like, I want to make sure these people have a good experience and that we beat this thing. But they have to switch out the people every 10 to 15 minutes. And what I found was like most people that were playing have never played VR before.
So they don't know
So
what
we
to
didn't
do.
even like, yeah. And then so
Yeah,
like
it's
some of the times it was like 10 to 15 minutes of us like sitting in the basement and like trying to troubleshoot all the other people. And like the people that were just in the basement didn't even mind. They were like, well, this is so cool. I'm just in the basement. Like we didn't even get
yeah.
to do anything. And
Yeah.
they were still like
Oh,
amused.
bless.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And then there was this girl, I was trying to explain to her how to do a certain move. And I was like, yeah, just press the trigger and then pull it towards you, pull your arm towards you, or like pull it towards you. And then she was like, I swear I'm doing it, I swear. And I'm like, so I take out my headset and what I see her doing, she's holding the trigger button, but she's like pulling the thumbstick towards her. And I was like, no, pull your arm towards you. Cause it's her first time playing VR.
Uh,
Yeah. And I was
Yeah.
like, yeah, this is wild. So yeah, it was good to see some new people in the headset.
That's a difficult
Yeah.
one to do a 15-minute in and out swap, considering it's like a 3 hour game, and especially if you've not used VR before
Or played the Demio.
or
Yeah.
played Demio.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There's a lot of
exactly.
explaining and like yell, and it's really loud at PAX.
Rules.
Like a
Yeah.
lot of like yelling. So my
Mm,
throat was like dying at the end of it, but it was still really fun.
yeah. On the conferences, I actually wanted to go to PAX West, but it coincided with my trip to New York. So I was
Mm,
in New York during PAX
yeah, it's
West.
better.
I mean, New York was fun, but
Yeah.
yeah. But the only one I've been to is EGX, which is in London.
Mm,
I actually went there. I got invited there once by. Do you know there's a game called Ollie Ollie, which is like a skateboarding game. So
I've heard that plays pretty well on the deck.
yeah. Hey. Um, that I just knew the producer for a long communication that we had before, so he kind of invited me out there, and that was fun. I remember playing what did I play there? Cuphead, that's it. Cuphead was a big game
mm,
because Cuphead was about to come out for Switch, and it was the first time it was been shown on Switch. That was like the big one, but it was cool because you get to learn a lot about the gaming industry, and there's a lot of you get to meet a lot of people, and
mhm.
there's a lot of conferences that you can just go. And I remember they did do you know Dreams? The game Dreams. It's by the people from Little Big Planet. They made this game
Mhm.
called Dreams, which is out on the PS. I think it came out on PS4. And I think it came out like 2, 3 years ago or something, but they had like a full conference and showed it off there, and that was cool to be at. Um, in EGX. But yeah, I definitely want to do more in the future. Hopefully, I thought me and Samson have never met in person, so maybe one day we can meet at like PAX East or something, or
Yeah.
that might be the time.
The best one for VR for sure is like AWE. The
Yeah.
biggest one, yeah, for sure. But for me personally, as like a super tech geek, I just oh my gosh, CES was like
CS.
I was
Hmm.
like in Disneyland, like my eyes was just like, what? Just like self-driving car demos, like
Yeah.
home automation. And then oh my gosh, there was this like robot that had like 3-layer trays that would drive like that would move around with food on it and serve you. And I was like,
Oh, I've
and then
seen
there
That's
was
them.
amazing.
Yeah.
yeah, and then and they have them at restaurants to help waiters and
Yeah.
stuff. And then there was also like the like obviously like the robot like mops and like vacuums, but like
Mm.
not the ones that you have at home. These are like the big ones that are like
The
beep beep
actual,
beep beep.
And
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
And then robots that take care of like your elderly. I was just like, oh my gosh, it's
yeah.
so good.
Jesus,
Yeah.
just the
I
future
mean, but
in
yeah,
a
I'm like a huge
conference.
robotics geek and VR geek. So for me, that was really good. You guys should go. It'll be fun.
CS. No, I do keep tabs when CS comes because there's always some out of the blue kind of tech that shouldn't be available
Oh,
right now and it should be available in 20 years time, but for some reason they have a working prototype. I remember when I first saw, I think it might be out now, but there was a TV where it's like a poster in a way. You could just roll out the TV and it's that thin. I don't know if that was this year. I think that was in like 2020 or 2021 or something like that.
crazy.
But just a TV that someone just like rolls out like a poster and it's like a giant working
That's wild.
TV and it's like thin as this much. It was mental, yeah.
The coolest
Um,
thing I ever saw was this like automated like laundry sorter and folder.
yeah.
Um, and
I
yeah,
could
it
use
was,
that.
I know, right? But it was 16,000. I'm like, come on, where is this company now? It was in 2019 that they came out with this, yes.
Mm.
And I'm just like, come on, like, can we at least get it under 10,000? Like, I hate laundry enough that I might be able to just like find money somewhere.
Oh, good.
Absolutely.
I
AWE, by the way, I remember signing up because they did a virtual version
Mm.
as well online, and I did actually. I think I watched like one or two, but I guess it's different when you're there
You
in
had to be
person.
there. Yeah, you had to be there.
Yeah.
I did
You
see
guys
the
should go.
picture of you with Skiva at I think it was at Pax West. The 5 feet
All
between
people.
y'all's.
Yeah. So at CES this year, it was me, Skiva, and Z Storm. Z Storm's
Mhm.
6'5"
Yeah.
and
Oh,
Skiva's 6'7". I'm 5 feet. And so we took that photo at CES. And then
yeah.
at PAX, it was Skiva was there, but then we found someone that was 6'9". And so we were like, okay, we're doing this. So I'm just gonna
Someone who
try to find
dwarfs Skiva too, yeah. I
her.
remember the first time I hopped in Neos with him and I was
Yeah.
like, "Oh, I think I must be like
That's
my
exactly what
floor
I said. That's
my
what I
floor must be
said.
off.
I was like, and then he was like, no, no.
I'm just up here."
That's
Do
quite
you play
funny.
Neos, Dan?
I don't have a PC VR at the moment. I did until like last year and then I got rid of it. And I feel like I miss out every single day.
You
This
have you don't have like a PC
No,
that's
I
VR
have
compatible?
I run Mac. I'm on Mac. I got a MacBook in front of me and I have another MacBook in front of me. So I'm
I can't
all yeah.
stand
He's
it. I
waiting
love
for that
Apple.
PSVR.
I decided because I have a PS5, I'm like I was going I was really I was close. I was asking questions to people. I'm asking Samson as well in terms of what to do with a PC, where should I buy one, blah blah blah. But then I thought, you know what? I have a PC, quote unquote, in terms of the PSVR, a
Mhm.
PlayStation, and I want to get a PSVR. Am I overdoing it if I get all three? Maybe,
Nah.
maybe not. I realize that I'm asking the wrong people here who are just
I
like, do
mean,
it, do it, do it.
I've probably overextended myself. I mean, there's
Oh
no
yeah,
way
for
I
sure.
get there's no way I get a
Oh
Quest
yes.
Pro this year.
I mean, you just got your Steam Deck, I guess.
Yeah,
That's what I
right.
mean. Yeah, it's
No,
just like
I see so many amazing things in Neos, to be honest. There's something really special. And I'm assuming, Jasmine, you're in it quite a lot. Is that like a go-to? Yeah.
Yeah. And I made a couple videos about it too. So
Yeah. Nice. Nice. AWE, by the way, Samsung, May 31st to June 2nd next year.
you
Maybe
guys should
that's
where
go
where where
to
is it?
so that's
California.
in yeah, in Santa Clara, Bay Area basically. And then you guys should just go to both CES, AWE, have your minds blown, hang out with some cool VR people, and be like, wow, this was so freaking worth it.
Yeah. Jasmine was completely right. Yeah. We owe her a
Yeah,
drink.
you're just
She's
like,
so
I can't
right.
believe I tried to skimp out on this because this is where the magic happens.
It would be cool to try, especially those like VR headsets as well in CS, you
And it's
know.
not even, I mean, yeah, that is really cool, but also like a lot of VR people go to these events and you literally just get to hang out with like, I mean,
Just
I was
yeah.
so starstruck at CES. I was like I can't pronounce her name, Gingas?
I don't know how to pronounce it, but I know who you're
Yeah.
talking about.
Yeah,
She
the eye
yeah,
one.
yeah,
Googly eye. She was there.
yeah.
And
Oh,
then
yeah.
So you've
this
seen her
was
face.
I have, yeah. This was at CES, and then Thrill and Fia and like V Bunny, like literally I was just like, what?
Hmm.
Wow.
Hello.
Hello,
Yeah.
I'm Jasmine.
And then the crazy part is there was this one guy who I guess is like a really big VR fan and came with some people, and he was fangirling over me, and I was like, you I don't even have any, but no one knows me.
That's
But yeah,
nice as
CES is
well.
super fun. Yeah.
Okay. All right, Samson, we should talk about this after the podcast and kind of plan some next year trips because we got to meet each other.
Yeah,
And
it's gonna be
everybody
Um,
hell
else.
getting work
and
off, that's for
everybody
sure.
else, exactly. Yeah, because we've had quite a few guests now on this podcast. Obviously, now yourself, Jasmine, Gamer Tag, Tech Man, and the list goes on. We had quite a lot of people, but we've never seen him in the flesh. You know, we've had Skeever on the show, but on Skeever on the show, I didn't really know how like tall he was until I saw some photos. I was like, wow, this is a big
I'm
dude.
I could probably get to Mateo 311 or BMF in for a weekend for sure, but
You're
I'm
not
not,
far away from
yeah,
them, yeah.
yeah.
But I don't know. I wonder how I. Do you know how tall Skeever is? Is he like 7?
Seven,
Jeez.
6, 7.
6'7"? Okay,
Mhm.
okay. I'm 6'3". I guess he's still really tall. Still, still a big
Dude,
dude.
he's like that's like got to be less than 2% of the population.
Yeah,
Like is over
absolutely.
6'7" and over. Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay, okay, perfect. Well, Jasmine, it's been amazing to have you on the podcast.
Thank you.
Yeah, this has been fun. Now I have
Uh,
like a bunch of games to try out based
we have
on
a
your,
bunch of conferences to
yeah.
go to.
Oh yeah, you
And
do.
inter
There's
and
so many.
Intercosmos.
Absolutely.
Let me know how you like that game, by the way, if you do end up
Yeah.
trying it.
Yeah.
I will probably end up buying it and then eventually trying it.
That is how it
That's
works.
my MO. That's my
Um,
MO.
That's how it
Yeah.
works. Yeah.
Before we
Yeah.
kind of sign off, Jasmine, I kind of want to ask you, what is I guess your favorite game in VR might be difficult, but like one of your favorites, like your one of your go-tos. I know you said Neos, but like as an actual game,
Mm,
what are one of your favorites?
okay. Well, okay. I'm not gonna say Red Matter or Intercosmos anymore because I've just talked about them for so long. So outside of those two, I would say the Last Clockwinder.
I've
Is
not
just
played that.
no. Yeah.
No.
Well, not many people have played it. So here's your like. Okay, now you're gonna know exactly my personality. Because I'm so predictable. But basically, it's like a game where there's like a clock tower inside of an ancient tree,
Yeah.
and you have to keep this clock tower running by cloning yourself with robots. And there's a lot of like automation that happens in this game, and like it's very cute because it's a tree house with
Mm.
like mechanical gears in it. I'm just like, oh, everything I love. And obviously, like the robotics and the automation part, I'm just like, oh wow, is this like game from the heavens? Because this is perfect. Um, but I
And
think
you're
my
and it's like setting up ghosts of yourself, right, to help yourself
Mhm.
solve the puzzles. Yeah,
They
that's
look
a pretty cool
they look like
idea.
Wally. They look like
Oh,
Wally. And okay,
awesome.
so the thing with this game is like it's not just a puzzle solving game. Like, yes, it's a puzzle solving game, but also because you have to clone yourself doing certain actions and you have to time it
Mm.
properly, it's also kind of like a sport in a way because there's times where you have to like throw like the apples or
And then
something
catch it from
and
the.
yeah, and then catch it, but time it so perfectly so that so I was like,
I
oh my gosh, I
gotcha.
just have to keep practicing my throw over and over and over again.
And
It's
then
just
your catch.
yeah. Yeah. And then my catch, and then the timing, because you can only have a certain amount of robots doing like to run this certain operation. You have to like optimize it.
Mm.
It's a really good game.
This is thrown on the it's gone under the radar. I just
It
saw that it
has.
came out on
Yeah.
June 2nd, 2022 on Quest,
Yeah.
and I've not heard of this game. That's surprising.
Yeah. I think I'm the only person that's played it. But I love this
Yeah, I
game so
don't
much.
think many people covered it. Yeah.
I found out who the devs were. I looked them up on LinkedIn. I was like, your game is amazing. I don't know
Yeah.
if anyone told you this, but I'm gonna
Do
tell
you
you
work for them
now.
now?
Yeah.
It sounds so clever though, and it's like
Is it?
a fresh game mechanic in terms
Mhm.
of you record yourself doing a certain action, and then you're cloning yourself rather, and then
Yeah.
you gotta. Yeah, it's a really
There's
clever. That's really.
yeah.
I might download this right now.
Yeah. So I
Yeah,
think
it's
that
only.
that's
Oh, God.
I was gonna say, I think that's like these are the kind of games that I feel like we need more of, like
Yeah,
things with interesting mechanics, not just like the standard shooters, like scary stuff. Like
agreed.
there's so many other things we could do with VR,
Agreed.
and it's great to start seeing this like starting to come out.
Yeah.
yeah, I think I'm trying to highlight these games more on my channel and less of the stereotypical games, I guess.
A lot of 5-star. I mean, it's got like 300 reviews, but a lot of 5-star ratings across the
I did
board as
like
well.
what was it, Fisherman's Tale? I think
I need
that's
to
feel
play it.
yeah, that
Yeah,
seems like it's right up your alley based on
so many people have
what I've
told
heard
me.
about you. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Everyone,
the Clockwinders game, I remembered another game on App Lab, We Are One. I think it's just a demo, We Are One
oh,
demo, but
okay.
it's also you mess around with your
So,
ghosts or whatever. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
You guys.
Okay.
exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm
Exactly.
looking this up. Thank you for all the recommendations.
Yeah, no worries. Tune in next time
That's what
for
we're here
Let's Talk
for. Yeah.
Oculus recommendations.
Yeah.
It's funny how you say that, Jasmine, to be honest, because Blair Renault, who came on the show, he's developing lo-fi at the
Mhm.
moment. He kind of mentioned a similar thing where he's like, there's so much like not missed, well, yeah, missed potential in a way in terms of VR. Like it seems like everyone's kind of cloning the same game, or the same
Yeah.
sort of games, and there's not much innovation out there. And if there is, so something like The Last Clockwinder, it kind
No
of
one
goes
knows
under,
about it.
yeah,
Yeah.
it goes under the bridge. No one kind of hears about it because I never, I mean, we've got our podcast called Let's Talk
Hmm.
Oculus and we've still not heard about it. I can't believe this has just gone under our noses a little bit. So
I'm so proud.
yeah, it's made by Cyan Ventures as well. Isn't Cyan the same people who do Mist?
Mm,
Is that
Don't
or
know.
is it, maybe it's a similar name, but yeah,
I
Cyan
feel
do they do Mist. Yeah, Cyan make created Mist. That makes a lot of
There you go.
sense.
really. Oh,
Yeah,
this. Yeah.
Cyan Ventures. They made Mist. They made the original Mist, and they obviously got the VR version too.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Good
they're
to know.
in Mead, Washington. They're like 3 hours away from me as well. Should hit him up. But yeah, that makes a lot of sense then because obviously Mist, one of the best puzzle games ever made. So
And I
it
still have
makes
not played it. Oh my gosh, it's on my list.
it's
I'm actually
hot.
playing it
It's
So that's when
this next
you
week.
need an audience for, because let me tell you, I've hopped into that game a half hour, 40, and even up to 45 minutes probably several times. I was flipping switches. I'm pretty certain I did nothing at all other than enjoy the beautiful scenery of the
Mm.
island. And somebody in Discord goes, "Yo, did you pick up the note?" And I was like, "What?" I was like, "What?
Oh,
What note?"
it
And
just throws you in.
I bought the game in 2D thinking it would help me because like
Hmm.
in 3D I just had everywhere to go, and in 2D it's more like point and click, like it takes you.
Yeah.
And I found the note there and I was like, all right, now I know where to find the note when I go hop into the VR version. But yeah, it's just like
okay.
there's no guidance whatsoever,
It
and
just
it's
throws
just
you in.
puzzles. Yeah.
It's a night. You got to remember, Jasmine, if you start playing that game, I think PJ from VR Verdict started playing that game recently as well. And that game, it was made in 1993. So that kind of says everything about it in terms of how accessible it is. Games were so hard back in the 90s and such. Sometimes I go back to the games that I used to play on PS1. I'm like, how did I do this as a kid? It's like
Mhm.
it's really hard. So that's what it's beautiful in VR, but it's a very difficult puzzle game.
Mhm.
It's a
Mhm.
puzzle to
Um,
figure out the puzzles.
it is, and because it
Challenge accepted.
but
Yeah.
I also really
Mhm.
want to kind of get into it a little bit more as well because obviously the Walkabout Mist is coming out in November, and I kind of want the context.
Oh, no
Yeah, so
way. Oh,
Walk
shoot. Okay.
Walkabout have the Mist themed course, right? So,
Yeah.
we made the mistake of not watching Labyrinth before going into the Labyrinth themed course, and I
Same.
kind of don't want to do the same thing again.
We just wanted to give our viewers what it was like to experience the course without
As we
having it
said,
before we gave the experience with it.
that
That
was
was
what we were going for,
there was a rhyme to our reason,
right?
I promise.
Okay.
Hmm?
Right, right. But anyway, let's kind of wrap it up here. A lot of game recommendations in this podcast, and Jasmine, once again, thank you so much for joining us on the show. Just do you want to plug or your Twitch, your TikToks and such?
Yeah. If you are looking for like VR tips, tutorials, and then also a bunch of games that are not your standard games being played, then you can find me on mostly YouTube and TikTok. I live stream on YouTube every Wednesday and sometimes on Fridays at 4:30 p.m. Pacific time. And then I am on TikTok almost every single freaking day. And yeah, and you can find me everywhere as VR with Jasmine.
Awesome. Thanks. Yeah, all the links for Jasmine will be down below. I'll also try and find a funny horror game
I'm
live
gonna send
stream
it
and
to
put
you.
yeah,
I'm gonna send it to you.
send it
I
to
already
me and
know which one I'm sending.
I'll put that in the description as well. But yeah,
Okay.
thanks, Jasmine. Obviously, thanks, Samson, as always, for joining us. And thanks for all of you for listening or watching. We'll be back next week for a regular episode where me and Samson.
Yay.
Yeah, anyway,
Thank
awesome.
you.
Thanks a lot, guys.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.